What is going on, folks? I am Suburban Angling, and today I am doing something a little bit different for you guys, something I'm really excited to do, something that's honestly a little bit long overdue, but I needed to take some time with the product that I'm about to show you guys and make sure that I knew everything about it and make sure that I had some experience with it before I sat here and talked about it, right? So, as the title and thumbnail would suggest, we are here to talk about my favorite rod sleeve company and, in my opinion, one of the best rod sleeve companies out there, best bang for your buck rod sleeve company for sure, and that is going to be the Stick Jacket Rod Sleeve Company. For my local viewers that watch here in Illinois, they are an Illinois-based company. They have a warehouse, I believe, somewhere near Joliet, so you know, it's northern Illinois, central Illinois type area. Sadly, they don't just have a stick jacket store you can just go walk up to and purchase stuff, but of course they sell their stuff online, which I'll have a link to their website down below. They sell plenty of their rod sleeves in all the local bait shops, and not only local bait shops, but I'm talking about they have stuff sold nationally. They're in bait shops from all the way to the East Coast to the West Coast. They've been at ICAST. This is not just some mom and pop company. This is the real deal. They make great products, and they actually have a team. You know, they're constantly working to make new products. One of the things I'm going to talk about in the video today is comparing one of their older, I don't want to call it an old version, but one of their basic version rod sleeves. So one of the new one, they just came out, the Pro Series, but we'll obviously get more into that as the video progresses. But I just want to let you guys know they're the real deal, and this is a really great company I'm here to talk about. So, you know, so don't hesitate to stick around and watch what we got going on, because I promise you guys are definitely not going to want to miss this. Especially if you're somebody who really cares about protecting your investments, because let's be real, if you're spending $100, $200, $300, even $500 on a rod, what's spending, you know, 5, 10 more bucks on a rod sleeve to protect that investment and to make sure that it's going to last for years to come? Alright, so let's get right into it. I don't want this video to be too long, and I really don't want to ramble. I want to get straight to the good stuff. So here I have a casting and a spinning of the basic version of the stick jacket. So right here is going to be the casting, right here is going to be the spinning. Obviously you'll notice the spinning is a little bit thicker. I should honestly double the width of the casting, which is great, because one of the problems I have with a lot of other brands of, you know, casting sleeves is especially in particular with the spinning casting sleeve, is on the bottom they don't have, it's not wide enough for that bottom O-ring or the bottom guide on your rod, right? And then you always have to stretch it over the guide, and when you have an expensive rod, and I'm gonna keep it real, I don't want to say a flimsy guide, but you know, you don't want to bend your bottom guide out, right? Your biggest guide, I'll argue, it's one of your most important guides. At the end of the day, it's just like, I don't want to say nerve-wracking, but when you have an expensive rod and you're someone who really cares about your stuff, it's always annoying trying to get a skinny rod sleeve over the bottom of a really wide, big eyelet, right? So I really love how they make their spinning rod sleeves wide. And not only that, but if you actually look on the inside, see how this is like a big, a funnel, like a big cup? They specifically make the bottom wide because they know about that problem, which is just something that, you know, you could tell that an angler actually made these, right? Just not just a company who's just trying to cash in on a product, not just, you know, some random third-party Chinese company, you know, like some, you know, USA made by an angler that fishes the same waters that you and me fish, who has the same problems that you and me have, right? Moving on to the casting sleeve, you'll notice how skinny it is, which I'm actually have some rods here to the left, which we'll show to you in a second, and you'll be able to, I have a competitor's casting rod sleeve versus the stick jacket rod sleeve, and you'll see how nice and sleek these things are once they're on your rod, which again is very important, because if you're someone, you know, who's using rod sleeves, you're probably someone who cares about protecting your investment. And if you're someone like that, you probably bass fish a lot, and you might even do tournaments, and when you're doing tournaments, or you're just spending 8, 9, 10 hour days, even just fun fishing on the water, right? A lot of times you have, you know, 4, 5, 6 rods with you. Some people even have 10 rods in their rod locker, right? And having skinny rod sleeves like this, having sleek rod sleeves, it really helps you not only fit more rods in the rod locker, but also just it's less bulky when you're carrying 6 rods and, you know, 3 rods in one hand and 3 rods in the other, and the wind blows, and it's not this big, wide, you know, rod sleeve that's catching the wind. These right here are nice and sleek, and I just love them. So like I said, this is the basic version of the stick jacket rod sleeve. Again, I have these on literally all of my rods. They're great. I love them. Now I'm gonna show you their new rod sleeve. They actually just designed this recently, just sent all of you call the affiliates, right, are their prototype or whatever. I mean, the product already dropped, so I don't want to call it a prototype, but the finished product, and that is going to be the Pro Series. Now, I actually do have a Pro Series rod sleeve in the package. I'm going to show it to you guys, but really quick, I want to show you a comparison between, this is a basic version of the stick jacket spinning, and this is a casting, but the weave is going to be the same, so it'll still serve the same purpose. Look at the differences. Let me get it real close to the camera. This Pro Series rod sleeve, they weaved it tighter. Obviously, you can just, it's a little bit thicker. I don't know if you guys can see that. And obviously, like the color, the designs itself they're just two different things. And I actually have another Pro Series right here, just so you can kind of really see how they stack up. These are the two Pro Series, and then this is going to be the basic stick jacket. Let me get the Pro Series in the package so you can kind of see what we're working with. So this is going to be I believe this is a casting. Yes, this is a casting Pro Series. Let me get the casting basic to give you guys a good comparison of them. One thing I want to note is, again, they both have that big cup on the bottom just so they can fit over all your guides, which I love. Even though this is a casting rod sleeve, some rods, especially if you're using like a crankbait rod, those have big guides a lot of the time anyway. At least my crankbait rod does. The packaging, number one, big difference. The Pro Series is also going to be, it is going to be a little bit bulkier of a sleeve, but it's still going to be, it's still pretty thin. It's still pretty sleek. I wouldn't say it's double the thickness of the basic casting sleeve. For comparison, here's a spinning, and this casting sleeve is still going to be a little bit thinner than that. Personally, that's why I like that they have two different series, because you can have your sleek basic casting rod, and if you want to have something that's going to protect your rod a little bit more, a little bit tighter weaves, maybe you're tired of taking your hooks off after every single tournament, and you want to be able to put a rod sleeve on there that's not going to snag your hooks. The Pro Series is it. This is going to be something where maybe you don't have 10 rods in the rod locker, maybe you only have 3 rods in your front seat, and you want to have and you got three $300 rods. You get 3 of these, you put them on your rods, and you forget about it, and you feel comfortable knowing you got something that is going to protect your investments. So I could sit here all day and just show it to you in my hand. Obviously, you need to go on their website and look a little bit more for yourself, and they're going to have information about these things and descriptions about these things. But overall, I just want to show you guys that this Pro Series is awesome, but so is their basic series, and there's no reason for you guys to think that one of them is, I don't want to say better than the other, because obviously they make the Pro Series for a reason, but they're both great in their own way, and they both serve a purpose. So here's a box of stick jackets I have. Like I said, they're the real deal. When they hit me up, they didn't say, "Oh, we're gonna send you 5 sleeves." They knew what they were doing. So they're not just making basic blue. They're not just making a basic green. They got all types of designs and colors. Here's a carbon fiber, purple, black. They got I don't want to call it Jamaica theme, but you know what I mean. It's got those vibes going on. They got a black and pink. This is really like Jamaica theme, you could say. They got all, just all types of stuff going on. And then over here in the grass, that camo one's going to be another design that they have, which we're going to get to those in a second. But just want to let you guys, they have, and these are not even all their colors. I took like 10 sleeves out of this box and put them on my other rods. They have so much to offer. Just don't sleep on it. I know you guys can go to Bass Pro and get a black rod sleeve. You guys can go to Bass Pro and get a blue rod sleeve. You guys can go to Bass Pro and get a red rod sleeve. But you're not getting all these options. You're just not. Some of the other stuff that they have, because at the end of the day, they're called stick jacket. They do make rod sleeves, but they also make something called the plug jacket, which is, it's nothing too crazy, and I'm not going to say this is the best lure wrap on the market, but they do make lure wraps, and while you're on the website, getting some rod sleeves, you might as well support them, grab a few lure wraps as well. And I'm not going to lie, I use these, and they're great. I'm not going to sit here and say they're the best one of the best on the market, because I'm sure there's hundreds of lure jackets you can use, or lure wraps you can use. You can even make these yourself. But all I'm going to say is I know the guy who's making these. I know the owner of this company, and I can tell that he cares about what he's doing, and I've used these for the last year or two. Even before he sent me any of this stuff, I actually had purchased a few of these at the fishing expo a few years back. So I've been using these for a while, never had issue with them, and I don't see why you guys would either. So definitely, you know, if you're on the website getting some stick jackets, or if you're just in the market for some lure wraps, come check these out, the Plug Jacket. These things are great. One last thing I want to show you guys before we end this video is just a comparison between the stick jacket rod sleeve casting version and the competitor's casting version, and just so you guys can really see, like, wow, they are very different, and wow, they're just, in my opinion, they're just better. So let's go check them out real quick before we wrap this video up. So here I have two. So these are actually also similar setups. They're both, this is a 7.3 heavy and this is a 7.2 heavy, so they're like the same size rod, same length, so they're gonna use the same size sleeve. So, you know, this is a very equal comparison. So on the left we have a competitor. So I'm gonna start with the bottom of this one. Number one on the bottom, they do attempt to make some kind of cup or something wide on the bottom, and then, you know, you can use this strap to pull it tighter, which seems great, and it is great, you know, it functions. But when you actually look up in there how bulky this thing is, it's still skinny, you know what I mean? And not that it was a problem getting it over these guides, but I feel like there's just no point to this, you know what I mean? Like, that's why I love the cup on the bottom of this, because it's simple, it works every time, and there's just like, you know, hooks can snag in this too, especially when you got like 5 or 6 rods right next to each other in the rod locker. A jerkbait hook's gonna snag this, a crankbait hook, a topwater, you know, a spook hook, it's gonna snag this strap. It's just a pain in the ass, and I just feel like these things are unnecessary. You know, this is just my opinion, but I feel like it's, you know, I make a good point. Now, moving up the sleeve, I mean, the design on it, it's cool, right? Again, the design is not really the point of it. It's to protect your investment, but just look at how they have, you know, the differentiating color. Look at the weaving, right? It goes up and up the whole sleeve. It's constantly changing colors versus this. You know, they just kind of had a sleeve. They slap the design every foot or two. You know, whatever. It works. It functions. It's cool. But I just think that this is cooler. And I could take out any casting sleeve in the box, and it's going to be the same way. The design's going to go all the way around the sleeve. Now, as we move up the rod sleeve, I just want you to notice the difference in how. So let me put these reels equal, right? So they're both in the exact same angle, right? Look at the difference in the sleek. You know, this is a thin, sleek rod. This is the stick jacket, and this is the competitor. It's just wider, it's bulkier, and I'm not saying it's not protecting the rod, but as we get along to the tip of the rod, I want you guys to notice the difference. And this, to me, is one of the biggest differences too. Look at the tips of these. This is the stick jacket skinny tip, which, by the way, this, you know, a lot of rod sleeve have similar tips. They don't have the skinny tip. This thing is strong. This thing is not coming off. Like I said, I have been using stick jackets way before they sent me any, and even the ones I have 3 years ago, these tips are still intact and fine. I promise you, the Bass Pro ones have these same style tip on there, and they fall off. I have like 3 Bass Pro rod sleeves with the top of the rod sleeve just completely open because the tip came off. And if you want to learn more about the skinny tip, and because there's plenty of functions to this, check out the website again, link in the description below. They explain their whole process and how they made their rods, or rod sleeves, excuse me. The tip on this one, it's a closed sleeve, right? I'm not gonna say that. Honestly, it seems pretty durable, right? But it's bulky, it's flat, it's, you know, when you, again, it has one of these little straps right here, and when, like, again, when you have a bunch of rods in a rod sleeve, this is gonna tangle on things, it's gonna be annoying, and it's just bulky, it's not as, you know, sleek and thin as this. I mean, even if you turn them sideways, right? Like if I turn this rod sleeve on its widest point, the stick jacket at its widest point is still half, you know, the width of the competitor. And it just straight up looks cooler too. And that's just my opinion, but I mean, they're just, when you put them side by side, you know, let me get a little bit taller, the stick jacket just looks better. Alright, so I hope I've convinced you enough that these stick jacket rod sleeves are pretty cool, they're the real deal, and they're definitely a company worth checking out. And like I said, they're a local company based here in Illinois where I live, but they sell their rod sleeves everywhere. If you go on their social media pages, you can, like I said, they literally have saltwater tackle shops buying the stick jacket. You know what I mean? This is, people recognize that these stick jackets are a good company and very quality, you know, very quality stuff. I mean, you guys can tell, like, look at their packaging, you know what I mean? I want to show you the Pro Series real quick one more time. They just care, you know what I mean? And even on the back, it's not just like on the back you would think, oh, it's just yellow. No, now they got, you know, you know, the attention to detail, I'll say. They just really care, you know what I mean? I think that's it for me in this video. I think that about sums it up. I think that wraps it up. I don't want to ramble too much because I don't want to sound like I'm trying to sound smart when I'm not. So you guys get the idea. Stick jacket rod sleeves, check them out. Link down below in the description to all their, you know, social media, their website, whatever I can find. It's a worthy investment to protect your investment. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.